Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Yankee Stadium.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Today is Friday, August 23rd, and we're getting some good news today. Jazz Chisholm is back ahead of schedule. Now, Chisholm got off to an amazing start with the Yankees. 7 quick home runs right out of the box. He was diving into home plate, and he kind of ran into the catcher with his left arm, and he had a strain of the UCL. The doctors recommended a little bit of rest and rehab. From what I've heard, he hasn't had much rest. He's been working out on the side. He's been taking ground balls. He's been taking some swings. Now, luckily, it's the left arm, so it's not the throwing arm. It's not going to affect his throws from third base. The only thing that I could see it really affecting is those headfirst dives, and maybe he could just avoid those for a while. We're about a week out from the rosters expanding, and it's worth noting that Jason Dominguez has caught fire in AAA. He's hitting .423 since being sent back down, and it sounds like he's going to be called up. Now, the question remains, how much playing time is he going to get? The Yankees are notorious for not giving their young players enough playing time when they get called up. They already sent Oswald Peraza back down, despite him playing pretty well during that brief time that he was called up to replace Jazz. He was obviously sent down now that Jazz is coming back. But, Verdugo hasn't shown us much in the last couple of months. And I think that if he doesn't hit over the next week, Dominguez should be given the opportunity to win that job as we head into the playoffs. Look, a switch hitter at the top of the lineup with speed and power, a young guy who's part of your future who can inject some life into the team, and notably a guy who has kind of a slow heartbeat, as they say, could do well in the playoffs. Would much rather have that out there than a guy who's hitting about .220 for the last couple of months. So we'll see you after the game tonight. I got Terrence joining for the post game, and we'll see you then. But let's get to your voicemails.
I live in New York City. I cannot believe you had the balls to do it.
Hey, Derek. Yeah, this is Bob. I like your playoff roster that you've come up with. I would love to see something like Peraza at third, Cabrera at first, and like you said, maybe one or two of the starters in the bullpen, maybe even one of them in a closer's role. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Hopefully a couple guys come back healthy and we make a good run in September, October.
Every year, it seems, most playoffs teams will put a couple of starting pitchers, if not one, maybe two, in the bullpen for the playoff run. Now, the Yankees have some guys who they could get some real length out of if you put them in that fifth inning, middle relief role. Nestor Cortes, I think, works perfectly. He's a lefty. The Yankees are kind of short on lefties. If they happen to have home field advantage in the playoffs, Nestor pitches better at home. So maybe you start Luis Gil and he goes 4 innings, and then you go to Nestor for the 5th, 6th, 7th, something like that. Even Marcus Stroman, you start him, he goes 4 innings. You don't need to get as much length out of pitchers in the playoffs. You have more off days, so you can use the bullpen a little bit more. We do have some arms coming back in the bullpen. I could also see Luis Gil going to the pen and being quite dominant. But the thing that scares me about Luis Gil is the walks. Nestor at least throws strikes. He is a guy who has elite command. And so I trust him completely pitching in whatever role he's in to throw strikes. As far as Luis Gil goes, he has potential to be a dominant starting pitcher, but he also has those days where he doesn't go very deep and he struggles and his command is erratic. I think you start Luis Gil and hope that he gives you a great dominating outing, but you have someone ready to go in the bullpen behind him who can give you some length, whether it's Nestor Cortes. I mean, it could possibly be Marcus Stroman. I kind of like Stroman as a starter, even though he's had some, ups and downs this year. I think he's the type of guy that would capitalize on the playoff vibes at Yankee Stadium. So it'll be interesting to see how the Yankees set up their pitching and their bullpen, their starting pitching and their bullpen as we head to the playoffs. I'm honestly much more concerned about the end of the game than I am the beginning of the game, because the back end of the bullpen has been trash.
Hey, do you think the Yankees will continue to use Clay Holmes as the closer in the playoffs?
There's been a lot of talk lately about closer by committee, right? And there's this old cliche in baseball that if everybody's your closer, you don't have a closer. And I think it's pretty clear that the Yankees don't have a traditional closer. I have very little faith in Clay Holmes in a big spot in the playoffs with the pressure on. He walks guys, he hits bats. He just doesn't seem to come through in those very clutch situations. Now, maybe he'll surprise us all and dominate in the playoffs and become a Yankee legend. I doubt it. You know, there's that meme on the internet where it's just doubt. That's what I'm clicking right there. But I think that Luke Weaver should get a look over the next several weeks. His stuff has been lights out. I think you could see Cousins potentially in a situation where you've got guys that struggle against the sweeper. Let's say you got some right-handed hitters coming up. He's got a really good sweeper. It's been really effective. Michael Tonkin, I could see them doing closer by committee, but I honestly think that they're going to mostly stick with Clay Holmes through the rest of the season and on into the playoffs. That's barring any kind of further meltdowns. Now, you know, if he blows 2 games against the Orioles in clutch situations in the final week of the season, yeah, that'll change things. I think the Yankees will pull the plug because a lot of the playoffs is about confidence, right? It's about feeding off the energy of the crowd and just going out there and doing your job. And if you got a guy wondering if he has the capability of doing that job, it's not good for anybody. So right now, I think they're going to stick with Clay Holmes, but closer by committee is definitely on the table.
Hey, Derek. This is Tim from Long Island. I just listened to your show after work, and $750 million for Soto. Yeah, that guy is absolutely insane. I'd probably see in the ballpark of maybe $55 million a year. But regardless, off that fact, that just had me mind blown. Going into the postseason, I really do see that Verdugo is going to get left off this roster, and also see that DJ is probably going to get left off the roster. With Rizzo coming back and having a backup like Rice that might be able to pop up a few clutch home runs, I just don't see him making the roster as well. Want to know what you think?
I think you're spot on with Juan Soto. Somewhere between $50 and $60 million seems reasonable. That's still a big raise from everybody else not named Shohei Ohtani. And look, he doesn't pitch. He doesn't bring in the endorsements from Japan. Just doesn't make any financial sense to give that guy more than Shohei Ohtani. I'm sorry. But somewhere between 50 and 60 million per year and, you know, a contract total of 500 and 600 million. I mean, that's still a pretty big payday for a chance to play for the New York Yankees for the rest of your career. I think he would take that, honestly. The Mets will probably offer him in the same, you know, area code in terms of money. And it'll just come down to, you know, whether he wants to be a Yankee or a Met. He'll probably get a slightly bigger offer from the Mets. But, you know, Judge got bigger offers elsewhere, decided to stay with the Yankees. So there is something to that. Nobody can offer Juan Soto the protection like Aaron Judge can, who's about to have his second 60-home run season if he keeps up this pace. Now, talking about first base, I definitely think that DJ LeMahieu could be left off the roster. I'll be interested to see what Rizzo looks like when he gets back because he was looking really, really bad before he even got hurt, and there was talks about him possibly getting benched or just going on a phantom IL trip or maybe even being DFA'd. He's not going to be back next season, and you know he's had some concussion issues which led to reaction time problems. So I want to see that he's making consistent hard contact. If he's not, I think you got to go with someone else over at first base, which is why I want the Yankees to give Oswaldo Cabrera some reps over there over the next several weeks. I think he could be a nice fit that allows you to play Jazz Chisholm at third base and not really lose any kind of offensive value because he has been one of the few Yankees who's been hitting the ball hard, but also he's one of those guys who hits them where they ain't, right? He hits a lot of duck snorts that drop in there and find some grass. So I want to see Oswaldo get a chance. And if Rizzo comes back and isn't getting it done, the Yankees should make a switch pretty quickly. Rice, been struggling a little bit too much to hand him the job. Wouldn't be opposed to having him on the roster because he is a backup catcher. He's a third catcher, and he's got some left-handed pop, which we know can come up big in the playoffs.
The summer gets super busy, and getting back on a good fall workout routine needs to be easy for me. With Anytime Fitness being available anytime, anywhere, they make it easy to work on getting stronger and more confident into my schedule.
Kratz is spot on. It's got to be easy to make that routine happen. And that's why we love Anytime Fitness, with access to 5,000 plus well-equipped gyms open 24/7. And this is not your average gym experience. They also provide personalized coaching support that provides members the best training, nutrition, and recovery guidance, which includes the Anytime Fitness app that generates personalized workout plans and tracks your daily progress.
Get after it, FT fam. To claim your free Anytime Fitness trial pass, visit anytimefitness.com. and get yours today. We'll also drop that link in the description of this episode. Check out more info and claim that free trial pass at anytimefitness.com.
Hey, Derek, this is Matthew from Kahului, Hawaii. Look, John Birdie has to be on the playoff roster. He's the fastest guy on the team. He's literally faster than Jazz despite being older. DJ's done, not even a question. Cousins should be closer as of right now. Love the way the bullpen's coming together. Huge start by Nestor. Anyway, have a great one. Mahalo.
You know, I almost forgot about John Birdie because he hasn't been around for most of the season. Anybody who's beyond their mid-30s knows how difficult it can be to come back from leg injuries. And he's had 2 leg injuries this year, which you wonder if it's going to hamper his speed. I don't know if he's going to get the opportunity really to play much in the playoffs, but I don't mind having him around as a pinch runner, a Dave Roberts type. You never know when you need somebody to pinch run for Stanton late in the game or something like that, you know? Let's say it's the, bottom of the 11th inning, or, and keep in mind, there's no Manfred man in the playoffs. So let's say it's the bottom 11, and Giancarlo Stanton is leading off, and he picks up a base hit, right? Immediately, you can put John Birdie in there at first base, and that base hit probably becomes a double. So, yes, I like him on the playoff roster if he's healthy, but we have to see it first. We can't just kind of grant him that spot without him coming back and proving it for a couple of weeks. I want to see him swipe some bags and feel comfortable on a major league field again.
Morning, Derek. Mark down in Virginia. Recalling a voicemail from a couple of weeks ago, we got in a discussion when everybody was intentionally walking Judge, and there was that talk of changing the rules so you can't intentionally walk, which I thought was dumb. But I will tell you, last night they discussed when he got hit by the pitch and Judge wanted to stay in, that would be a rule change I'm okay with. If a player gets hit and wants to stay in the batter's box instead of taking first base, I'm okay with that. It's a win-win situation.
That's an interesting idea. I've seen guys get hit by pitches before and pretty much refuse to go to first base. Happened to Albert Bell one time. Just didn't want to go to first base. I think if your jersey just gets nicked or whatever, yeah, you should have the opportunity to continue to hit if you're not hurt. I think the reason that they, send guys to first base is because if you get hit by a pitch, generally it hurts and it inhibits your ability to hit. But if you can still swing the bat comfortably, you should have the option. I agree, 100%. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Here's the quick NostraDerek prediction. Then I will be back after the game to talk it over. All right, today's NostraDerek prediction. I think Anthony Volpe is going to get 2 hits tonight. I like the way he's been swinging the bat a little bit better lately. He's been kind of leveling out his swing again. He had been kind of in launch mode. I think he got a little bit home run happy coming out of the break there. He hit some bombs, and he kind of got it in his head again that, hey, I'm a power hitter, which is something that young players can do. But I think that recently he's been swinging the bat a little bit better. And so my prediction tonight, 2 hits for Anthony Volpe. Ball game over. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and give us a subscribe. It helps other Yankees fans find the channel. We're also on all your favorite podcast platforms and social media. Join the community, have some fun. We're here after every game. This is Pinstripe Territory.